Right Network. Mobilizing, countering the left, energizing the right. New Right Network, home of the New Right movement.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to New Right Network's original series, SmythTV. Your host, Brian Smith, giving you all the breaking news of the day, wrapping it all up, making sense of it, exposing the fake news media, exposing the propaganda from the Democrat Party, and giving you the real news every single night, Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. And tonight, well, we got a lot of news, a lot of bombshells being dropped today. But if this is the first time you've been on our show, welcome. Down in the description below, you're going to find a lot of different links. There's a link to Wayne Dupree's show, which comes on right after my show. His show starts at 8 o'clock. There's also the Patreon button down there. Please jump over to Patreon. Help to continue to keep this show going, to continue to air the real news and the propaganda, exposing. There's a lot of stuff going on today, guys. And as you see by the title, we're going to get into Ilhan and what is really going on with that. And so also, if you want to listen to the show, just audio only, there's the link for iHeartRadio. And if you're shadow banned like a lot of us are, jump down there, get in the Telegram group, our private Telegram group. You can join it. You'll get the live link to the show every single night, as well as all the show notes and all the different links for the different places and platforms every single day around 4 to 5 o'clock, and then you'll get the live link at 7. And right underneath that is the full show notes, the link for the full show notes. Click that. That'll take you over to newrightnetwork.com. When you get there, usually it's about 2 to 3 pages of show notes. And at the top of the article of show notes is the embed for the video for the show. So you can take that link and share that link with your friends and your family. They'll have the video right there to watch the show, and they'll have the full pages of show notes as well. And in the show notes, you're going to find all the great patriots that helped bring this show together, from those like Dr. D. Hannon, who's also running in the 13th District in Ohio. We're also showcasing Donald Trump's tweets so that you'll never miss a single comment from our great president, as well as being able to follow these individuals. And some of the great articles we'll talk about. All the links are there as well. So definitely jump over into the show notes, follow these great patriots, and a lot of them will follow you back. So if you're trying to build up your Twitter following, it's a good way to do it. And last night was Trump rally. We'll cover that a little bit, go into some details of what's going on and what happened. We got Trump news, a lot of great stuff that nobody's talking about of what Donald Trump is actually doing as President of the United States. Page 1 will shock you. Yes, Donald Trump is actually successfully working while nobody's reporting on it, and we watch the Democrats as they're unsuccessfully not working and failing epically. Everything they do, just a complete and total failure. I've labeled that duck and cover because they don't want you to find out what's really going on in the scenes and in the background. And then we're going to cover in very detail what is really going on with IlhanOmar, the elected official in Minnesota, a Somalian refugee herself. Is she fraudulent? Has she committed fraud? Has she committed a crime? Did she have criminal intent? We'll show you the details and what's going on and the indictment. Possible indictment. We've been told people inside the DOJ have leaked out that they are going to indict her. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll show you why they should indict her. And then also Rashida Tlaib not getting any help from her dad calling her out. She's got some problems too. We'll see how that goes. And at the end of the show, City of Rats and Gangs. What city is that? Los Angeles, of course. I didn't see it. I don't watch The View. I don't watch any TV, really. I cut the cable years ago. Don't have any of that. But apparently Dr. Drew was on The View, and he had some things to say to Juan Williams about Los Angeles and pretty much blew him up. So we'll get into that. And then MS-13 gang members, what are they doing in Los Angeles? And as we get the show started, we're going to go to the rally that Trump held last night. Huge rally once again. And if you've never been to a Trump rally, I highly suggest you go. And I highly suggest you go as a volunteer. You get to walk around, you get to do everything that the people don't get to do. And you get to help out, volunteer, do some good work, helping Donald Trump and the campaign. You don't have to wait in the long lines. You can pretty much help out. But once you get done helping, you can pretty much do whatever you want. So it's a lot of fun being a volunteer. And last night, this tweeted out by our good friend at Dr. D. Hennon. And again, this is one to follow. He's running for Congress in the 13th District in Ohio. America first. It is time the American people send the political DC elite a message. We, the people, are taking back our government. Dwayne Hennon for Congress, hashtag Hennon for Ohio 2020, District 13.
Far ahead of our own citizens. Nowhere in this world is there anything like what's happening with immigration, how bad it is. The Democrats' open border policies deplete our public services, overcrowd our schools and hospitals, and bring crime, drugs, and deadly gangs into our community. The Democrats want to spend more money on health care for an illegal immigrant than they do for a citizen of the United States. You can't say you love our country if you want to destroy it through open borders. Open borders are a disaster.
This is the Democrat policy. We know it. We see it. They're talking about it. Every single one of these Democrats are talking about open borders. Any country, and it's common sense. We know it. Any country that doesn't have a border is no longer a country. And if you want to fix these countries, keep those people there, that's the best policy, is to help those countries and keep their people there. And his comment made earlier this week, or his tweet made earlier this week, if you don't like America, if you got that much hate for America, go back to your own country, fix it, and when you fix your own country, then come back and tell us how to do whatever you're saying that you did. It would never happen, but calling these IlhanOmar, AOC, and Rashida Tlaib out, calling them out as who they are, just hypocrites. Hypocrites indeed. And as he mentioned, MS-13 gang members, guys, this is truly what's going on. AOC ruining, wrecking the Democrats' agenda by going to the border and saying there's a crisis on the border. Yeah, we've known there's a crisis on the border forever. And MS-13 gang members? This our good friend at Laura Patriot Deb. More horror from the peaceful migrants. Wake up, liberals. You own this at the DNC. This LosAngeles.cbslocal.com. 22 MS-13 gang members charged with machete murders in Angeles National. The suspects were part of a dangerous Fullerton clique, which operates out of San Fernando Valley. So if you live in or around the San Fernando Valley, be very, very careful. Apparently there's a whole bunch of MS-13 gang members, and I'm glad that they've rounded them up, arrested them, and charged them. This kind of viciousness absolutely has to stop, and this is what Donald Trump is doing in office. To help protect Americans. His number one job is to protect Americans, and he's taking that very, very seriously. We've got a lot of articles of what Donald Trump has been doing, a lot of great patriots tweeting out. Thank you so much, guys, for helping out. You're watching New Right Network's original series, SmythTV. Jump down in the description below. Click the full show notes. That'll take you over to all these great patriots that you should absolutely follow. Breaking news, instantly, real time, and then come to the show, watch the show every night. And if you got great tweets that you're putting out there and you want them to be showcased on the show, DM me on Twitter with your tweets, as well as you can email me, brian@smyth.tv. That's SMYTH.tv. And Trump news. What is really going on? What is Trump really doing? This at Hart3158, Renee Hart, hashtag justice time. Donald Trump signs law to punish websites for sex trafficking. U.S. President Donald Trump on Wednesday signed legislation aimed at penalizing website operators that facilitate online sex trafficking and chipping away at the legal system. This by Reuters.com. And this at Laura Patriot Deb. Sex trafficking is what I call this. It's horrible. Congress must change our asylum laws before they leave for break. At Speaker Pelosi, at Real Donald Trump. And this was tweeted out by CBP Arizona, the Border Patrol. 2 human smugglers were charged with smuggling and sexual assault after posing as a Guatemalan girl's parents during an attempt to smuggle the girl into the U.S. as part of a fraudulent family unit at CBP at ICE.gov. Read more via at KELO Land. This is the violence. This is the awfulness that's at the border that the Democrats refuse to acknowledge, refuse to stop. Again, AOC, Ilhan, Rashida, all of them voted against Nancy Pelosi's funding and sending more money to our Border Patrol in order to stop the influx. And now that we're getting help from Mexico and some things are being changed, Donald Trump signing in new rules and new things that the Democrats are not doing, that the Republicans are doing, we're now seeing almost a 27% drop in illegals coming to the border. And at one point in time, there's like 150,000 coming to the border in 1 month. This absolutely going to destroy our country if we don't stop this. And so fighting the Democrats, because the Democrats are in full resist mode. They're resisting every single thing that this president is doing. So in the 2020 election, folks, all the way down, straight red ticket. And I got my hashtag walkaway shirt on for our good friend Brandon Struck. What an incredible gentleman doing just incredible things. I was talking with Alex Phillips, the head of the American Priorities Conference coming up here in October, the Columbus weekend, down in the Doral, Florida, Trump's Doral. Definitely jump over there. Get your tickets, folks. American Priority Conference, AmericanPriority.com. Absolutely must get your tickets early. But we were talking this morning about the conference and everything going on, and the big fundraiser that we're doing for Brandon Struck, doing a Monte Carlo style event. It is going to be absolutely incredible. It's going to be a blast and a lot of fun. And if you are not following Brandon on Twitter or Facebook, you absolutely should. He's at US Minority on Twitter, so definitely follow him as well. Some of the other things that Donald Trump is doing, this at Life News HQ. Raise your hand if you're pro-life and stand with President Trump. Hashtag I stand with President Trump. Hashtag pro-life. This at lifenews.com. President Trump again defunds UNFPA, which promotes abortion and population control. For the third year in a row, President Donald Trump has ordered the defunding of UNFPA, a United Nations population control agency, which promotes abortions worldwide. Donald Trump signed an executive order defunding the population group because it pushes and promotes abortions in other countries. Absolutely. My Donald Trump making it happen. This is what you're not going to hear from the mainstream media. Stuff you're never going to hear. You'll hear right here first on Smyth.tv. And again, jump over to the website, Smyth.tv. Feel free, help out, become a Patreon, and continue to get the real news out. And we are absolutely pro-life. My story about that is when I was raised up and coming up of age in the 80s and early 90s, I was told that it's none of my business as a man. I was told that that's a woman's body and that's not for you to make decisions. And so as they bullied us men into the corner in Cowtown, said, oh, okay, I won't ruffle no feathers with the ladies. All right, that's no... I started to think about it and my Christian faith and getting back into my Christian faith as well. Guys, it takes two to tango. Yeah, the woman can't have a baby without the man. It's physically not possible. So half of that process, well, some of that process is a man. The other part, the woman. And then the blessing from God for that to actually happen, the miracle from God to actually make that happen. So if you are a Christian and you are pro-life, I'm telling you right now, I advocate for no abortion ever at any stage whatsoever. I've met women and men that have been born that were born out of rape, and they're healthy, beautiful people, very extremely intelligent, gone on to do incredible things with their lives. Folks, aborting a baby because it was born because of rape. Think about that. The man who committed the rape, and I'm just saying because the rape is overwhelmingly men, but the rape that happened because of a man criminally actions, then we punish the baby by murdering it? How does that make any sense? Come on. They've gaslit you. They've lied to you. This is absolutely not the way it's supposed to go down. I've also heard stories of men and women that have been aborted but survived the botched abortion, go on to live incredible, beautiful lives. Democrats want to promote and want to push legislation that would actually kill the baby. I think the Republicans have put it up for a vote over 60 times to save the babies. Save the Babies, Born Alive Act. And no, every single time the Democrat Party has said, no, we will not support this legislation. So this is actually the party of death, infanticide, and a whole lot of other things, guys. So we absolutely cannot support any kind of abortion. Some of the great doctors have said, if you want to save the woman's life, save her life by having the baby. Have her have the baby, and that will save her life. And also, the Democrat Party, the party of racism, always has been and still continues the racism, race baiting. We had to suffer underneath it for 8 straight years under Barack Obama. And now we got, I don't know if you guys know this about Steve Harvey, but Steve Harvey is a Christian himself, and he's a good, great man. And he kind of got sucked into a little bit, and now he's starting to learn what happens to you when you support Donald Trump. And this at Donna, WR8, Steve Harvey talks about the insane and alarming pushback he received from liberals for meeting with real Donald Trump and Ben Carson in 2017 to help the inner cities by creating a vision center.
President Obama's transition team. I was getting off a plane one day. Assistant called and said, Steve, it's President Obama's transition team. President Obama and I were friends. I've interviewed him. He's been on my talk show. I've been to the White House and interviewed him. He's been on my radio show more than anybody's show. I go to their parties. We friends. So his transition team called me around the 9th of January and said, Steve, the president feels like it's important that we sit down and have a conversation with this new administration to see if there's something we could work out. Not President Obama, just his transition team from the White House. I said, okay, cool. Next thing I know, the Trump administration transition team gets in touch with the Obama transition team. My name come up. So on January 13th, they asked me to come to Trump Towers to meet with Donald Trump. Now, the hell I caught the sheer misery for making that decision. I've been so many coons, Uncle Tom, sellouts. I was stunned. I mean, the brutality of what happened to me on social media behind visiting that man in Trump Towers, it was alarming. But I'm sitting up in here and I'm trying to figure out, because you don't know, so since you don't know, here come the hate. Uncle Tom, sellout, Coon, Steve Harvey, shoe shiner, celebrity friends I thought I was really cool with, coming out talking about he ought to know better. What's the hell wrong with him? Whoa. If President Obama, the current president, and the incoming president say they want to talk to you, which one of you ain't going up there? Just raise your hand if you wouldn't go, so I can see how stupid you are.
Part 2, look, I didn't vote for you. I put my whole radio show behind trying not to get you elected, but...
That whole thing about the girl, Kevin Hart said, man, it's amazing how they cheer for you on the way up, because they love a success story. But then once you get there, their whole mission is to bring you down. And they was just on that social media just lacing me, man, like I don't do nothing for black folk, like I just ain't been black this whole time. The hell you gonna call me a Uncle Tom, a coon, and a sellout? I'm 60 years old. You know what I done seen? I seen what everybody in this room that's 60 done seen. I done felt what everybody in this room done felt. How they gonna call you Uncle Tom and a coon because you're at the top of the corporate ladder? Now some black person ain't got nothing wanna sit up and call you a Uncle Tom and a coon because you done betted yourself. Ain't that about la-di-da? You be wanting to go, man, I wish, you know, man, you be wanting to say something. But you know what though? You can't say nothing. Because my grandmama taught me something a long time ago. If you hang a sheet out on the line and you get some doo-doo on it, don't wipe it because you ain't going to do nothing but smear it. She say just wait till it dry. It'll fall right off. So when they kept on trying to, I just shut my mouth. I stayed quiet because I knew I had a purpose. Now, Brother Blue went with me to the first meeting with Dr. Ben Carson at HUD. We have started an initiative. The first one will open in Detroit because that's where Dr. Ben Carson is from. Division centers have been okayed by the White House, all because I took a step and went up there and said it. I didn't even come up with the Vision Center concept till the night before. I just told God, I asked God, man, just tell me what to say when I get up there. Because what I'm supposed to say, I don't even know what to say. What do I say to Donald Trump? I told him when we were sitting there, I said, look, man, I ain't vote for you. And I said, I put my whole radio show behind trying not to get you elected. I said, but there was a mistake got made. I said, we was playing checkers and y'all was playing chess.
6D chess. I had to throw that in there. That gets some folks a little lit up. Absolutely. Steve Harvey. Come on, man. You know, sometimes it's hard to see when you're wrapped up in with those individuals in Hollywood and you're wrapped up with friends that have been gaslit, people that don't understand. I mean, he's right. If Barack Obama and Donald Trump and their transition teams called him and said, hey, we'd like to talk with you about the vision for inner cities, yeah, you the dumb one to not go and try and make a difference in this country. This is the racism that Steve Harvey has now been affected by. And this racism, this hate, and this anger comes from the left. It doesn't come from the right. You know, in Charlottesville, Donald Trump said there's bad people on both sides, anger on both sides. I was all that Charlottesville, all that stuff. That's all one side. That's all hate and anger on the left. That has nothing to do with us conservatives on the right. We don't subscribe to that. We don't show up to those things. We're not involved in that kind of stuff. And now Steve Harvey witnessing it. Thank you, brother, for preaching it and for coming out and telling us about this story. Stuff like this is what we need to do. Continue to push this message out so that everybody can hear exactly what the left does to their own. They eat their own. I mean, look at what happened to Kanye West. Really? And so as we're getting into some of the stuff I call duck and cover, Nancy Pelosi trying to paint Donald Trump as a racist. Nancy Pelosi they held an impeachment vote yesterday. I mean, I just showed you what Donald Trump is successfully doing in America, for America. Now we're going to show you what the Democrats are doing. Absolutely obstructing, absolutely hurting this country and doing nothing but race baiting and stall tactics. That's all they're doing, just stall tactics. And it doesn't help anybody. There's no positive outcome to any of this stuff that the Democrats are doing. And this is our good friend at Michael Beatty 3. Backtrack alert. We're not saying he's a racist. We're saying that the words you use are racist. Nervous Nancy Pelosi folding cue the squad outrage round 2.
That's what that is. But we weren't saying that he was racist. We were saying that the words that he used were racist. So that was as gentle as it could be, considering the inappropriateness and the disgusting nature of what the president said.
And at Echo the Call, in case you missed it, the House voted overwhelmingly to block articles of impeachment against real Donald Trump Wednesday. The results, 332 to 95. There were 137 Democrats who joined all the Republicans in voting to defeat the measure. And this video by CBS.
Donald John Trump, President of the United States, is unfit to be president.
It was a test vote of sorts on the appetite for impeachment. And it turns out the hunger is low.
No, I think we'll get rid of all this right now.
More than half of House Democrats joined all Republicans to table the idea for now.
I do think I'm winning the political fight. I think I'm winning it by a lot.
Texas Democrat Al Green forced the vote by introducing an impeachment resolution. It says the president's racist comments this week, suggesting those who may look to the president like immigrants should go back to other countries, qualify as high misdemeanors.
If you did what the president has done, you would be punished.
The president was referring to these 4 Democratic congresswomen who spoke to Gayle King.
So what is the point of going through the exercise of impeachment when it doesn't look like it will go anywhere?
The Watergate class didn't have the votes in the Senate side. They didn't function from that place. They function in putting the country first.
But Democratic leaders prefer to wait. And for now, most party members appear to be with them.
We have 6 committees that are working on following the facts in terms of any abuse of power, obstruction of justice, and the rest that the president may have engaged in.
The president, arriving in North Carolina for a rally tonight, called the results of this vote overwhelming and said that's the end of it. But with special counsel Robert Mueller set to testify next week, Nora, this wasn't the end of anything.
And we'll be there for that too. Nancy Cordes, thank you.
We'll be there for that too. You guys are a bunch of shills. This is ridiculous. It's out of control. Nancy Pelosi, 6 committees investigating the president of obstruction, investigating the president of whatever. Just keep investigating. Just keep on keeping on. While we see Donald Trump being a successful president, we are also at the exact same time seeing you, Nancy Pelosi, obstructing the president, obstructing Americans for being able to have a safe country to live in, a successful economy, lowest unemployment for black Americans ever, for women, 60, 70 years, for minorities in general, forever. Guys, this economy's shooting through the roof. We got the stock market, the highest it has ever been. 401ks, the highest it's ever been. What did you do to make that happen? Nothing. Since you guys took the House, you have done absolutely nothing but obstruct the greatness that is happening to America. And just like your Trump derangement syndrome of Bill Maher said, yeah, we got to destroy this economy in order to defeat Donald Trump. How sick is that? Here's what Pelosi is doing. This, our good friend at Akins_Josh. This is the problem with Democrat policies. They believe the policy happens in a vacuum and that no other pieces of our economic or social system will be devastated by a said policy. Continuing to allow their policies to take hold will create a dog chasing its tail environment. This tweet to Nancy Pelosi, at Speaker Pelosi, mark your calendars. Tomorrow, the House will pass the hashtag Raise the Wage Act by gradually raising the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. We can raise wages for up to 33 million Americans in communities across the country. And look, our good friend Marine One at The Ready 1775 replied to Nancy, look who's tweeting from the trunk of the squad car. Glad you're alive. I don't know how many times we got to talk about this. Minimum wage is actually racist. They say, whoa, hold on, Brian. What are you talking about, man? Minimum wage racist? Yes, it's a racist policy. It absolutely crushes those in inner cities, those with lower education, inner cities. And there's your race, because a lot of folks have been brought into the inner cities that are of minority status, going to schools, government schools, not having much money, and then dropout rate in Los Angeles County from the 6th grade to the 7th grade, 50% by the time of graduation. 50% will have dropped out of school. Those dropouts then have no other opportunities. They certainly aren't worth $15 an hour. So they'll never have a job, and they'll guaranteed to stay poor, guaranteed to stay on government programs, guaranteed to be at the bottom. And this is what Nancy Pelosi is doing. Not only that, but our sons and daughters are 16, 17 years old. And I think back when I was 16, 17, a little while ago. My first job working at the local Kroger's, the grocery store, in the produce department. I was 16. I didn't know nothing. I didn't know nothing about fruit. Fruit? Whatever, I'll do the job, doesn't matter. And they hired me. Yes, minimum wage. I was paid minimum wage, and at the time, I think it was like $3.35 an hour. A long time ago, guys. But man, come on. If you raised the minimum wage at Kroger's for produce department, no kid would get hired. None whatsoever. They would scale back and prices would go up in order to service that. They would start having automation, because automation, although expensive, would be cheaper than $15 an hour. I told you a story about Mickey D's. Mickey D's fired all the people that were taking in the money. And now, at the places where it's $15 an hour minimum wage, those people got fired. They're now out of a job on unemployment, food stamp, whatever you got to do to try and survive, government programs, and replaced them with automation. Now it's self-serve. So this is a racist, hateful ideology that absolutely needs to be stopped. This is just unfortunate that we've got Nancy Pelosi at the helm destroying. This is destruction of America right here. And this at Raven68, Oliver the Pug. This is a great video. I don't know who the young lady is, but she's a beautiful black woman, and she's got something to say. So Oliver tweeted this video of her out.
All of y'all bashing us, and Trump calling that out, and y'all want to call him a racist for it? How the f*** does that work? How does that work? Somebody help me understand this, please. How is this man racist for calling them bitches out? He would have done that for any white person if they was doing it. That white person came from Scandinavia or whoever the hell else, wherever they at, and they said America was so bad. Take your ass back to Russia. Shit, take your ass back to Denmark or wherever you came from and pay 80% of your taxes to the goddamn government. Don't come over here bashing my country, and then we finally get a president who stick up for what he believe in, who actually fights back, and y'all want to call him every name in the book? Call him. Call him, baby. Keep calling them them names. Because ain't nobody scared of y'all. Ain't nobody worried about what y'all got to say. But what I'm sick of is these Republicans, these holier-than-thou Republicans, coming after my mother president because he had the nerve to stand up for what's right. He got the nerve to actually stand up to these motherfucking bullies that y'all just let trample all over us all this time. You motherfucking Republicans, some motherfucking pussies. Y'all got to excuse my motherfucking language, but they pisses me off. They make me sad to even realize that I am a Republican. Because it's Republicans like them, Mark Sanders, and all them other ones, and they said it was some Texas Republicans that came out against what he said. Them bitches need to be primary, and seriously. Because any two ways you can call this man racist for what he said about them, when not one thing in his tweet had any goddamn thing at all to do with racism, bitch, you the mother problem. My blood pressure getting high. I can feel it. I feel my heart thumping real bad. And I'm on this highway. I need to get off this phone. I just wanted somebody to hear me real quick. I just needed to rant a little bit. I'm done. And y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. Thank you.
What a beautiful woman. She said it just as good as anybody else would say, but she did a fantastic job. Thank you so much. I have reached out to Oliver to try and find this woman, find out who she is, but you don't have to call yourself a Republican. Just call yourself a conservative Trump supporter. That's all we're talking about, guys. Hashtag walk away. Brandon Struck. Hashtag Blexit. Hashtag Jexodus. We have hijacked the Republican Party, getting rid of. There are 4 Republicans that came out against Donald Trump, and we absolutely need to primary those Republicans and also primary the AOC, IlhanOmar. I'm just saying they absolutely need to be primaried. There's a couple other people that are coming out against AOC as well, so a lot of people stepping up. I'd pretty much take just about anybody over these people. They are destroying the Democrat Party, and that is a good thing, but enough is enough. This rhetoric, this racism, the race baiting, the hating, the anger. We had 8 years of that garbage under Barack Obama. We really need to stop that and get back. 2020 has to be the election that destroys the Democrat Party once and for all, at least for generations to come. And as we're talking about IlhanOmar, the fraud that she is, this Atil Saavedra, President Donald Trump on Representative IlhanOmar.
Well, there's a lot of talk about the fact that she was married to her brother. I know nothing about it. I hear she was married to her brother. You're asking me a question about it. I don't know, but I'm sure that somebody would be looking at that.
Mr. President, new documents revisit questions about Representative IlhanOmar's marriage history. This at thestartribune.com. 2 weeks ago, Omar was repeatedly asked about the allegations made against her surrounding her marriages. Omar refused to answer. This at The Rebel.
Ilhan, if I could get a moment of your time, could you tell me why you filed illegal tax returns in 2014 and 2015?
Which committee?
Can you tell me definitively or not, is Ahmad Elsi your brother?
For the markup?
Yeah. Is he your brother?
We're in the middle of the legislative briefing.
Is he your brother?
We're going to which one?
It's Foreign Affairs. I'll go with you. Can you tell me definitively, yes or no, is he your brother? And why can't you answer that question?
The remarks you gave me earlier.
Why did you refer to him as your child's uncle on Instagram? And why did you lie on court documents saying that you hadn't seen him since 2011, when in fact you'd been talking to him all the time on Instagram?
Sir, we're not doing ambush interviews.
This isn't an ambush.
You can send me an email.
Why are you so afraid to answer these questions?
Thank you. So we have budget and HVAC.
How can anyone take you credibly on the student loan tax file when you were cheating on your taxes in 2014? And how can you call for Donald Trump's tax filings when nobody can trust you on the file at all? And why are you scared to answer the questions?
Yikes, a little bit dicey. The Rebel does this quite frequently, and at first I was kind of uncomfortable with this kind of journalism. The guy did call it ambush interview. It happens all the time. Laura Loomer used to do it all the time. I haven't seen her do it lately, but the Rebel does it. Great job. These elected officials have to be asked these questions. Certainly, if there's no problem answering the question, if I was an elected official, they said, is your sister so-and-so? I would say yes or no. No, yes, no. Acting like this, though, is very suspicious. We need more information and more details to find out whether she truly did commit tax fraud. And if she did, ask Willie Nelson or Wesley Snipes what happens to you when you do tax fraud. And she should suffer the consequences as well. the filing the marriage in Minnesota. It's you're not allowed to be married to two people at the same time. Documents and records uncovered from her college and schools. Court documents show. These documents absolutely show that she certainly may have created, and our good friend at Jack Posobiec, would be a shame if this went viral. Tweeting this out last night. I'm glad I caught it. Yesterday when I saw it, it was at, I think, like 20,000 views, and now it's at 557,000 views. Yeah, that's the definition of a viral video, and here's why it went viral.
Minnesota Democrats, media, and the Department of Justice have continually ignored strong evidence supporting the fact that IlhanOmar may be directly involved in tax, marriage, and immigration fraud.
In 2002, Omar married Ahmed Hirsi in a religious ceremony. Hirsi is the father of Omar's 3 children and is pictured often with Omar and their children on their campaign website.
In 2016, Minnesota journalist Scott Johnson received a tip about a post from a Somali community website containing marriage certificates alleging Omar married her brother Elmi in February 2009 in order for him to immigrate to the U.S. legally, despite the facts she'd been married to the father of her children, Hirsi, over a decade.
This clearly proved that any such second marriage might be bigamous under Minnesota law as well as fraudulent.
Later in August 2016, further investigations into legal documents and filings in Minnesota by journalist Priya Samsundar uncovered evidence supporting the allegation that IlhanOmar married her brother, Ahmed Nursed Elmi, in 2009.
The 2009 marriage license to Elmi lists the same address as one filed for a Minnesota business 3 months later in May 2009 for One-to-One Cafe by Hirsi, the father of Omar's 3 children.
That means IlhanOmar was living with both her real husband Hirsi while still married to her brother Elmi.
High school record evidence also support the claim that Elmi is indeed her brother and graduated in 2003 from Arlington Senior High School in St. Paul, Minnesota, with enrollment records that state he was born April 4th, 1985. The same birth date listed on Omar's 2009 marriage certificate to Elmi.
See the full episode at alphanews.com. Secrets of Ilhan Part 1. Yeah, I mean, that's some pretty damning evidence, folks. And I want to correct myself. I originally was under the impression that Ilhan married her brother, who was a legal citizen in America. But it happens as their investigative journalists have shown that she married her brother in order for him to become a legal citizen in America. She should absolutely be taken out of office, not only for this, but the fact that she's Islam and she's absolutely against everything American. But this as well can land you and should land you in jail. You know, we talk about it all the time. So when are Democrats going to jail? This may actually land her in jail, and if the DOJ if the sources are correct, the DOJ is ready to indict IlhanOmar. And this, our good friend at Jally_cat. Ever wonder about MN Omar's family tree? Watch Omar's father, Omar Muhammad, serve as members of related clans in SRC Marxist Islam Party. War crime perpetrators now living illegally in the U.S.
Everywhere here, reminders of the men, women, and children mowed down by government troops. Tens of thousands died. In 1992, when the Fifth Estate went to find out about the man in charge of the local army, it seemed everyone had a story about torture and gruesome killing on the colonel's watch.
2 men were caught, tied to a tree. Oil was poured on them, and they were burnt alive. I saw it with my own eyes.
He caught my brother. He tied him to a military vehicle and dragged him behind.
He said to us, if you've got enough power, get him back. He shredded him into pieces. That's how he died.
Farhan Warfa is a Somalian who claims in 1988 Ali tortured him for months, then shot him twice and ordered guards to bury him alive. He survived, and since no international court has jurisdiction, Warfa has turned to civil court in the U.S. to seek damages. In court filings, Ali acknowledges he was a colonel in the Somali National Army, but denies having attempted extrajudicial killing and torture, and denies directing any such actions by his subordinates. Yusuf Abdi Ali is an accused war criminal, facing a civil trial in Virginia, alleging he's responsible for atrocities including torture and attempted murder in Somalia in the 1980s. While awaiting trial, he has been driving for Uber.
Wally? Yes, sir. He's just coming now.
Ilhan Omar's father, Mohammed, served with Yusuf Ali as members of related clans, Marxist Islamist Party, serving Somali dictator. This is the problem with Islam. The people that practice Islam. I'm not saying the people that are forced to be Islamic out of fear, but those that are practicing Islam. This is the government. This is the style of government you will get. And Ilhan Omar's father, serving with and possibly facing some war crimes. I mean, what do you expect? We've got to get a hold of this immigration policy and absolutely turn it around. And our good friend at Lydia Lynn 89, America, love it or leave it. How dare you come here greedily, take what we offer so freely, use it to rise to power, then turn around, lie, trash the people of the country and policies that made it all possible for you to utterly despicable propagandist. That was a tweet out to Ilhan. And this, our good friend at A Red Pill Report. Journalists travel to Ilhan Omar's homeland to prove Somalia is a beautiful country. Gets murdered by terrorists. This at Summit.News. When Ilhan Omar stands with Palestinians, this is what she supports. Just saying. And for those of you audio only, this is a video clip of Palestinian protesters burning a giant U.S. flag in Bethlehem. Ilhan Omar in Congress sponsoring a bill that is against Ilhan Omar in Congress sponsoring a bill currently that would sanction. It's against Israel in general. This is the problem. This is Islam. And now we got Rashida Tlaib. She's under some fire, too. She's got some heat coming after her. This is the Epoch Times. Her father, of Rashida, says she lied about where she lived to get elected. Okay, that's fraud. Somebody needs to bring, complaints to the election board. Absolutely. And our good friend at Buzz Patterson, anti-Americanness is real in our country. When will we see that there is a dangerous ideology in Congress that is continuing to fuel it? Enough. Buzz for Congress. This was to Rashida Tlaib, who said, anti-blackness is real in our country. We see our black neighbors are being killed without any justice. When will we stop allowing it? When will we see that this is dangerous ideology in the White House that is continuing to fuel it? Centuries of terrorizing black folk. Enough. Yeah, you know and I know, we all know that's an absolute lie. This is propaganda. This is gaslighting of those who vote for these kinds of people. This is going to get worse before it gets better. This doesn't end well either. These elected officials ranting and saying things that are just absolutely, totally wrong. Shouldn't be talking like this. Elections have consequences. If you know anybody in these districts, keep tweeting out, talk to them, get a hold of your friends and your family, and primary these individuals, because this type of rhetoric, this awful propagandist rhetoric in America absolutely has to stop. And just some trending things that were happening today. HopeHicks trending today. NBC News. FBI, I believe Trump was closely involved in hush money scheme, unsealed documents show. HopeHicks was under oath and interviewed, deposed, and she said no, she had no conversation with Cohen or Trump about StormyDaniels money. Yeah, guys, StormyDaniels back in the news. Here's the thing. A year and a half ago, StormyDaniels said she lied about being with Donald Trump. Now we fast forward to today. Whether Trump paid her hush money or not, it was completely legal. Anybody can pay anybody for whatever. I mean, you can pay somebody. Can't pay somebody to do an illegal act, but if she had relations with an individual for free, and then months later down the road, she claims that she's going to tell everybody her story, and then you say, I'll pay you to shush it up, that's completely legal. Now we find out, after the StormyDaniels debacle, the judge has now ordered StormyDaniels to pay Donald Trump's legal team for damages. So that's what's going on here. Epstein denied bail, not allowed to go home, must stay in prison. Thank you so much. Seeing some justice start to happen. And former official to sue AOC for blocking people on Twitter. Judge ruled that Donald Trump couldn't block people, and now it has to apply to AOC as well. They're saying that you are an elected official and you're not allowed to block people on social media. And Breitbart News, if you only watch one thing today, make it this. Ted Cruz on the Google swinging votes during the election?
To know who the Hillary Clinton campaign's number one financial supporter was in the year 2016?
I think I do, but please remind me.
The number one financial supporter of the Hillary Clinton campaign in the 2016 election was the parent company of Google, Alphabet, who was our first witness. They were her number one financial donor, and your testimony is, through their deceptive search methods, they moved 2.6 million votes in her direction. I would think anybody, whether or not you favor one candidate or another, should be deeply dismayed about a handful of Silicon Valley billionaires having that much power over our elections to silently and deceptively shift vote outcomes.
Again, with respect, I must correct you. The 2.6 million is a rock bottom minimum. The range is between 2.6 and 10.4 million, depending on how aggressively they used the techniques that I've been studying now for 6.5 years.
Wow. Could you say that again, please?
The 2.6 million is a rock bottom minimum. The range is between 2.6 and 10.4 million votes, depending on how aggressive they were in using the techniques that I've been studying, such as the search engine manipulation effect, the search suggestion effect, the answer bot effect, and a number of others. They control these, and no one can counteract them. These are not competitive. These are tools that they have at their disposal exclusively.
If any headline comes out of this hearing, that should be it.
All it takes is 3 to 4 million votes and we lose. He's talking 10.6 million? Guys, this is what's bad, and thank you, Ted Cruz, for doing this, deposing this individual. This guy is certainly not conservative by any means as far as what I've seen, but we see Ted Cruz really putting the screws and making him admit to what Google has the ability to do. This will keep a Republican from ever being elected again. This manipulation. Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, so close because we know millions of votes were being swayed by Google. This government certainly has to put a stop to this. And again, as he said, Google exclusively having this technology is very, very dangerous. And as we wrap up the end of the show, I was telling you guys about Los Angeles and the horrors of L.A., Democrat-run city, by the way. L.A., Chicago, New York, absolutely horrific things going on in those cities. And this at one of the writers at New Right Network, our good friend Brenna, at BEMAKOWKA. Link in the description below. Must follow this one. At the 5, Drew yelling at Juan Williams saying, "How many must die before you change the rhetoric?" He is very upset, missed it, but here was the action directly after.
This isn't a housing problem.
It's not?
No.
What is
That's a hoax. That's a hoax being perpetrated by the government here locally. They need to stop.
That there isn't, because it seems
Of course we have housing expense issues, but we just absorbed 1 million illegal undocumented immigrants. They found a place to live. It's a hoax. So it's a mental health crisis and addiction crisis. People that had mental illness that shouldn't have been in prison in the first place, frankly, ended up on the streets. And then because we made drugs legal essentially in California, all my people are here. The drug users are here now because they don't get hassled.
Dr. Drew also sounding the alarm about LA's growing public health emergency, and he's warning about the possibility of a deadly disease outbreak.
The people go, why are you so concerned now? There's one word: rats. We have been, have you seen what's happened with the rats? We have like 12 million rats in Los Angeles now. And the last time we had more than 2 million, plague broke out.
All right.
I disagree about sending in radio talk show host and TV personalities.
He's a doctor. He's actually a doctor who's dealing with infectious disease and drug addiction. Dr. Drew is not a talk show host.
Okay, that's how I know in talk shows, and I get really upset when I hear that this issue gets boiled down to like the threat, the fear-mongering of, oh, well, this could lead to bubonic plague.
He's right. He's right. You know what? After the show, you should read up on Dr. Drew's history, that he has treated thousands of patients for decades. I know you don't want the facts, Juan. You don't care. You just want it to mean somebody.
What we are saying here today to this audience
is true.
Gee, those people that you see on the street, they're a health risk.
You're the reason people suffer. You don't want to. You don't want to help them.
People aren't the health risk. The rats are.
Well, I just think rats are a problem. I don't care about homeless. You can go to big cities everywhere, and there's a rat problem thing.
All right, you guys.
You know, these are Democrat-run cities, and Rashida Tlaib complaining that blacks are dying in the streets. Yeah. Check out the stats at heyjackass.com. It's a real website with real data from the Chicago Police Department. I'm telling you, Los Angeles, rats in the streets. Rats, literally, a city of rats, Los Angeles. Bubonic plague. And here you heard Dr. Drew saying that if just a fraction more, if this exceeds more and more people are literally dying from diseases in Los Angeles, Chicago, people are dying. I mean, did you hear about the mass murder in Chicago? Yeah, the mass murder in Chicago, July to date, shot and killed 22. This current week in progress, shot and killed 4. Year to date, halfway through the year, shot and killed in Chicago, 252. Total homicides in Chicago, 278 homicides year to date. Every 3 hours, a person is shot. Every 17 hours, someone is murdered in the city of Chicago. These numbers are through the roof, guys, and these are ran by Democrats. There hasn't been a Republican since the 1930s. It's all right here on display. We've got the technology to show you in real time what's going on. And thank you for watching New Right Network's original series, Smyth TV. Your host, Brian Smith, giving you all the breaking news, wrapping it all up, exposing the fake news, and giving you the real news every single night, Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. And stay tuned. Right in the description below is a link for the Wayne Dupree Show. He comes on right after this. 2 hours of back-to-back incredible information, giving you real news every single day. Crush to share, crush to follow. Jump over to Smyth.tv, become a Patreon. It's never been more critical than now to get involved, become a Patreon. Help us help continue to get the real news out every single night. Oh my goodness, guys. Fast hour, you're going to spill with anybody. I promise you that. For Thursday Thoughts, I'll see you tomorrow, guys. Have a good night.
You've been listening to New Right Network, mobilizing, countering, energizing. Online at newrightnetwork.com.